my 21st birthday party was the idea for Body Shots. I was about to turn 21 and they were asking me what I would do when I turned 21 and how crazy I would get. And I told them, well, I'd do some body shots. And they were like, oh, we're writing about it. So that's what happened.
How did the collaboration with Ludacris on Body Shots come about, and what was it like working with him?
Oh, it was a blast. He is a really cool guy. I'm so happy that he's on the record because he's a super talented artist, but on top of that, he was just awesome to hang out with. What was the other question?
How did that come about? How did it come about
basically,
collaborating with him?
I had my people play the record to him, and he said he liked it and wanted to do it. It was as simple as that.
You produced and co-wrote all the songs on your latest album, Bring It On. What was your creative process like?
I didn't actually technically produce the record. I did write all the songs. I co-wrote all the songs and did obviously get in there and meddle with the music, but I have to give the producers credit. They deserve it because they're very hardworking.
Right.
And now the question was?
What was your creative process? Maybe, collaborating with the producers and writing.
Oh, the studio is so relaxing. It's so much fun. You don't have to be on. You can just chill out. And a lot of times it's really therapeutic too because you're usually talking about things that are really personal to you that you're just going through. So, I had a blast doing it. And usually it depends. Sometimes I would walk in and I'd say, okay, here it is. I wrote a poem, or I have a journal, and this is what happened to me, and I have a title for it, and let's go. You know what I mean? And
right.
you obviously start off with the lyrics and the idea. But oftentimes we would just explore different sounds and sit down and find something to vibe out until we all agreed that it was the right direction. And then I would start immediately. As soon as a melody, as you could strum a guitar, somebody could just, when the phone rings, all of a sudden I have melodies popping into my head. So it was nice. It's so much fun to sit down and vibe out to the music. Then all of a sudden, what they've started making me do is go straight into the studio and just put down whatever's in my head. And usually, nowadays, that can go straight into being most of the song, at least, and then you work on refining the melody. And then I go ahead and get to the topic of the song and try to find, where musically the voice is. What is this music saying to me? What vibe is it in? And then taking personal experiences and turning it into something that makes sense for the...
Are there any running themes that you find that reoccur in most of your songs and that you like to write about?
I can have a sharp tongue sometimes, and I find that I'm a nice person, but when it comes to music, I kind of don't hold back. I just say what I feel. Like I have a song called Captain Save-A-Ho, which is really funny, and it's kind of poking fun about a guy who degrades himself by dating these kind of whack jobs and just being like, listen, you're not going to save this girl, what are you thinking? And just kind of making some digs on him, but having a good time. I love doing things like that, and sometimes it's good just to have songs that are fun that you can dance around to. But I do find myself always going back to things that maybe are socially accepted or are normal that I don't exactly think are modern. Sometimes I think what we do as people is kind of antiquated socially, and I like to kind of take shots at it to try to create something better for the future.
How would you describe your musical style?
Anthemic pop music. It's a word. Which I think it is. Just really hooky pop music that can make you get up and feel something. Even Bring It On. It makes you feel something. That's what I like.
Are there any other musical genres that you would like to explore in the future or incorporate into what you're doing now?
Absolutely. I would love to incorporate all kinds of music. I'm down to try anything. People often ask me who I'd like to collaborate with. It's really to collaborate with. And I'm like, actually, as much as it's fun to collaborate with another pop person, I think it would be a lot more fun to venture off and try something obscure and different and unique. Even if it's something as simple as a pop star from Korea to something as, eccentric as, a cellist or something like that. Just really exploring musically, because that's what it's all about. It's about creative, it's still in our
How did you get your start in the music industry, and how would you describe your journey? And has this been something that you've always wanted to do?
Whoa!
I know that's a mouthful.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll take one at a time.
Yeah.
The first one was, how did I get started?
Yeah, how did you get started in the music
Well,
business?
I kind of came out of the womb singing and telling people I had to do this. So, eventually I got my way.
Yeah.
My parents weren't very keen on the idea. They wanted me to go to school and do sports, and I'm a kid, and just get good grades in school, and that was about it. And I kept wanting to do music and do performances and have girl groups, and then all of a sudden it was acting too, because they made the mistake of putting me in acting lessons, or not acting lessons, acting camp at a local, artsy place near us, and fell in love with that too. And then Lou Pearlman, we were negotiating with them after doing some Disney stuff and doing all the stuff that amounted to possibly signing with Lou Pearlman in Orlando, which I'm so glad I didn't do. My two attorneys at the time, here I am 9 years old, my attorneys at the time advised me to go to Los Angeles and go out there for pilot season, which is where you go and audition for new television shows and things of that nature. So I went out there, and I have to tell this story. It's a little bit long-winded, but I think it's very cool. My mom traveled everywhere with me, and when we went out there for acting. And my mom found an ad for an 18 to 25-year-old male that they were seeking to make. This guy was a manager who was seeking to get him signed. So my mom's like, you don't want a 25-year-old male. You want a 10-year-old girl, or whatever I was at the time. So she submitted all my information, and sure enough, they called. And I ended up getting a beautiful song called Paradise from them, which I recorded when I was 11. And we took that to various record labels, including Curb Records, who I ended up signing to. We negotiated while I was 11, but I signed by the time I was 12. Had it remixed by Brian Rawlings, who was doing Do You Believe with Cher at the time, so we went out. And I had some great experiences from like 12 to 15. I was touring around Europe and Asia, having hits and having fun, and still managing to be a good kid, which I thank very much for my parents for, because they definitely kept me in line.
How would you describe your journey? Like, how has this journey been for you? Was it rocky? Was it kind of smooth?
It's a complete roller coaster. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking. I definitely feel like I kind of chose this, but I feel like it was almost chosen for me, like I was born to do it, in a sense. Like, does a bird have the choice to be a bird? It's a bird. Like, I'm a recording artist. This is what I'm here to do, and I'm meant to do. And I think when I finally accepted who I am and became okay with what's natural for me, and that's when I got back into the industry, because it is a very chaotic industry, and it's certainly not something that I think, people who are into business and want a stable life would advise their children to do. Like, go have a crazy life in Hollywood. It's not exactly what you tell your kids. Like, get an education and go be a doctor or an attorney.
If you could pick a different occupation, something other outside of the music industry, what do you think you would be doing?
I have two different sides to it, because one is based in being successful and money and adventure, and one's based in humanitarian affairs and like being able to do good work. So in one regard, I've always wanted to. I had the opportunity. I have to tell you the in-between phases first. When I stopped when I was about 15, I moved back to Los Angeles. I'm originally from Florida, but I moved to Los Angeles again and started to make my next record. But I started going through adolescence, started questioning everything. I had a lot of tumultuous situations arise. Adolescence, that compounds everything, So I was like chubby and angry and confused, and just a bunch of stuff happened. So I ended up writing really angry rock songs, and became very poetic, and found that was my release to kind of get through those times. And that's when I realized I could write, and started doing rock, and I was like, you know what, enough. I called my dad and my mom and said, I want to go abroad. I looked online, and I found out that the honor school for my college says that if you're in the honors class, you can go to Cambridge for the summer. I really want to go to Cambridge. I want to study economics, I want to study international relations, and that's that. I'm going to college, I've had enough. So I moved back to Florida, had the opportunity to shortly thereafter go to Cambridge, had a blast, but I couldn't shut up about music. So eventually when I got back, I had a come to Jesus meeting. Come to work and